Hey guys, so we made the long trip yesterday from Calgary to the west coast of Canada here. We got a late ferry, came over to Vancouver Island, and this morning we are off to Salt Spring Island, which is just a smaller one of the Gulf Islands just off of Vancouver Island. So we're gonna get there here shortly, and for this project, I mean, my main goal is, again, just try and walk you through how to install your own lighting system. This is a fairly big one, so it gives us a good opportunity to really talk about some of the lights that we're going to use that are pretty standard in a lot of applications that we do, as well as just give you a little bit more detail of them so you know what you're going to be getting if you're buying one of our kits, or if you're looking for do-it-yourself lighting, kind of what the different options are. We got some really tall trees that we're going to be using, some slightly brighter bulbs because we need to push that light up. We're going to be doing some down lighting. We've got some new deck lighting stuff that we're doing, and there's three properties on this, three buildings on this property that we're all going to be working with. So a bunch of different little things that we can do. So we'll hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll try and get you some real nice footage from, in my opinion, one of the best places in Canada on the west coast here, just off Vancouver Island. So enjoy the rest of this video.
Hey guys, it's Cal from the Lighting Doctor here. I hope you guys enjoy this video with some more great landscape lighting tips. To learn more about landscape lighting, go and check out our website at lightingdoctor.ca, or if you want to see what a real quality landscape light should look like, go and check out our Try It Before You Buy It offer, where you can get a premium quality fixture at a discounted rate with your very own battery pack, so you can go and test out how that light's going to look and feel what a real premium quality light should look like. So go and check us out at lightingdoctor.ca, or go watch more videos on YouTube just by searching for the Lighting Doctor. All right guys, so we finally made it on site here, and whenever you're starting your project, after you've gotten your design and everything, like I've talked about a lot, the first thing you want to do is just get all your fixtures unpacked. Make sure you got all the materials and stuff you need, or at least you think you know what you need, and then go start laying them out, because then that's when you're going to find out if you maybe need to add some lights, maybe you forgot some stuff. And once you've got those fixtures just kind of laid out, placed, you don't have to put them in the ground or anything yet, just get them in their locations, then just run the wire back from your transformer. That's the other thing, lay out your transformers. Again, you don't have to attach anything, just go put it where it's going to go, so you know you have all the parts and supplies you need, and then just start running your wire out from your transformer. What I always say is take the path of least resistance. The nice thing with low voltage LED lighting is you can make it pretty simple here. So start running that wire out to give yourself a little slack at every one of those lights, so that you can make sure that you have enough wire. The other thing too is you can kind of make sure you have the proper runs of wire. I mean, you can always go to YouTube and just check out some of the videos, how to size your transformer and that kind of stuff. Search Lighting Doctor, low voltage, voltage drop, that kind of stuff. There's all kinds of videos that talk about that, but at least just by going and laying out your wire, you can kind of count up how many fixtures you have on each line, and make it super simple. And I know for most of the kits and most of the projects that you guys are going to do, even this one, this is a huge property, and you guys will get a sense for that as we kind of walk through it a little bit more. But even with that, we're still not even close to getting into any voltage drop issues. So 12 gauge wire is always a good way to start. If you think you're going to have problems, then run 10 gauge up to that first light just to be safe. And if you're running a system, and unless you're on an acreage like this one, that's this is probably, I would say, 6 to 7 acres, and we're still not going to have voltage drop issues. If you're getting something bigger than that, then we can always talk. But for the most part, most of you guys, 12 gauge wire, for the little extra it costs over like 14 or 16 gauge, it's worth just putting in 12 gauge, because then you know you can always add on too. So I'm excited to get into more of this, some of the wiring, some of the fixtures and all that. So I will check you out in the next segment. So we're going to show you a quick deck light here. We've got our post behind us, and we're actually going to have one that's going to go right inside the post. These are handy because it's better. A lot of people will put in a deck, they'll put lights that are shooting up, and what I find happens is that when you're walking on the edges and you have a light shining in your eye, you can't see where you're stepping. So this is a good option, hides the light source, and we're going to mount it right inside our post here. So this will be a long video, so Alex, hope you're doing some edits, but I'll show you how to install this cool little post light. First thing we have is our 3/4 inch hole drill. We've already measured it out. We've got 8 all along here, so we've already measured them out to make sure everything's going to be the same height. Okay, now we're just going to clean this hole out a bit with our spade bit, 1.5 inch spade bit. We're going to go back, we're just going to clean up our hole a little bit more here. Alright, so Nice thing with these little guys here is they come with this little mounting bracket, this little guy right here. The only thing we got to do before that is because we got to get our wire through, because we didn't drill all the way through. We just have a hole for our light. Usually I would just drill through the back, but because here I actually want to come out the side, I'm going to have my hole over on the side here so I can just come out and straight down. All right, now I'm going to throw my bracket in. Trusty rubber mallet. Now I'm going to feed my wire through my hole. So the brackets come with a couple little screws just to fasten this on there, so we're going to do that. All right, pop that light in there. Use our hammer again just to get that last little bit. That's in there, and last thing I'm going to do is literally I'm just going to grab my staple gun and I'm going to staple this as neatly and cleanly as I can down the back. I'm going to drop it underneath the deck, and I'm going to make all my waterproof connections in there. But good option. There's also some nice surface mount options that you can put on your post, so you don't have to drill a hole. And there's a whole bunch of different options. I like these ones because they just kind of fit in there snug. It's a different option, but there is lots of surface mount ones that you can basically just screw a plate on, do the same thing, just drill a hole for your wire through the back side and then drop it down, make all your connections under the deck.
So here we are on our project at Salt Spring. So the first thing I've done, like I always say, is I've just kind of gone and I've laid out all my lights because I want to make sure I have the appropriate amount of lights, and then from there I can calculate how many watts I need and make sure I've got my proper transformer sized and everything. And although I've already kind of done those calculations first, it's always a good idea just to double check. From there, as you can see, I've just laid out all my wire on the ground. I'm running everything from my last light way over there and off to my next light. Again, that way I know how much wire I need. I kind of know my running path. And a general rule of thumb too is you always just want to make your life as simple as possible with LED. For this one, we even have like we probably got about 350 feet of cable going out. This is a huge acreage. It's about 7 acres. I'll give you guys a idea of that later. But even with that and the amount of lights and everything, voltage drop is just not something I'm really concerned about with this one. Again, because we're using a good quality light, we're using large enough wire. We're not trying to save dollars using a smaller wire, which I'd always recommend go with at least 12 to low voltage direct burial wire, or it's the easiest to work with. And you go with something smaller, you might save a couple bucks, but then you're really limiting the capacity of what you can add on. So that's pretty much it. And then we're doing a lot of uplighting and downlighting on this project, and this is kind of like our staple fixture that we use for a lot of our jobs, the RS uplight. The reason I like it for so many reasons, and why it works good for this is it comes with a really durable ground stake, which you don't always find with a lot of the lights and stuff you find on Amazon and Home Depot. It's a pretty cheap one and it breaks really easy. These stakes won't break. The light is going to get hit by a tractor, might get knocked out of the threads, but these will not break, and you can usually just screw them back in. So I like that. I like to have a 10-foot lead wire, so this is great when we're mounting them in trees and stuff, because it gives me a lot of room to play around. If I come back at night and I want to move it, I can move it, within 10 feet either way, and I don't have to remake connections. So I love that. The wire is really easy to work with. Cheaper models, I know, because sometimes we use different lights for different things. It's not as easy to work with. All this stuff adds up, which makes a quality light. If something's really cheap, there's generally a reason for that. So the other reason I like it is if you've had a chance to work with it or have tried it before you buy it light, you'll know this is an aluminum fixture, but this does not feel like most aluminum fixtures that you find on Amazon and Home Depot. Get our try it before you buy it light. You can see how durable this thing is. It's literally bulletproof. I've been installing these in trees before, and I've dropped these from 25 feet and this thing does not break. A really good light. And then the other reason I like it, especially for a lot of do-it-yourselfers, and I get flack from professional lighting designers all the time saying, oh, integrated is the way to go. Personally, I still like this. I like getting a good quality fixture, and I like getting a good quality bulb. Again, you get some of the cheaper stuff you find online, and you're going to have problems with the bulb. They just don't last as long. They draw more power than they say, so that's where people run into voltage drops. And I get that email, I don't know how many times a week. Hey, I bought this system, I won't say the name, from a big box store, and I hooked up all my lights. I've got 20 lights, and they won't come on. And it's because the lights are drawing a lot more power than the box actually says, and that's just based on efficiency and quality and all that kind of stuff, and they can't get their system to go. So I mean, if you're doing a very small system, that's fine, but if you're getting upwards of 15, 20 lights plus, and you're still going with some of those cheaper models, there's a good chance you're going to have some problems. Not so much with this. The other reason I like it is the components are really easy. I'll talk about some troubleshooting stuff later that really allows you to play around and troubleshoot with this. And the other thing I like too is on this property, so we've got some trees that are, I don't know, I'm looking at them here, I say they're 80 to 100 feet high. So I want to be able to put something in that's bright enough. And I like the ability that if I put something in and it's either too bright or not bright enough, I can just go and I can switch out a bulb. I don't have to change the fixture. I don't have to mess around with trying to change an LED board. I can just basically pop in a new bulb, try something a little bit brighter and see how that looks. So that's one of the reasons I really like these ones. It just gives you a whole bunch of flexibility. I know a lot of people ask about beam spreads and intensities and all that kind of stuff. Well, this really allows you to play around with that, because even as your landscape grows, as trees get bigger and stuff, you might want to upgrade how bright some of your bulbs are. Really good option. Again, nice waterproof seal. That's another thing that just makes fixtures last. I mean, there's so many reasons, and you know, we're on an island here that gets a lot of rain in the winter time, so I want to make sure we got something that's super waterproof. That's why we're using our waterproof connections and everything. But really wanted to give you a feel for why we're using these lights on this project, and with so many, they're by far our most popular one. So yeah, we'll kind of keep going with the install here. We're just going to get our stakes in the ground. That is the one thing. I did another video, whether it's going to be part of this one or not, where we did some deck lighting, where your rubber mallet, it really is your best friend. It comes in all our kits for a reason, because we use it a ton, and that's usually what I use when I'm securing, especially here, because we're on an island. This is rock, so I need to really be able to get that into the ground. There's no way I'm doing that if I just got to step on it. So you'll use this for so many different reasons. When we're mounting some tree lights too, I'll show you some ways that we do that. But yeah, anyway, we'll move on with it. We'll screw our light in. We'll make our wiring connections. The nice thing too, or little trick, is always try and keep the adjustment screw. Another reason I like this light, there's a little adjustment screw at the base, so you can come and you can just kind of adjust it to go more upright or down if you want to. And it's a really durable one. It's not some cheap little screw thing that some of the lights again have online. And then the last thing I was going to mention, I totally forgot my train of thought, but the adjustment, oh yeah, and that's what it was, is a general rule of thumb: whenever you're installing up lights, you almost always want to have them more upright than you actually think. I see so many people angle them at the objects, and you typically get a lot better effect if you're angling it more upright than you think. So that's just a good general rule of thumb. But regardless, come back at night, make any adjustments, make sure you're getting the right effect. Even on a property this side, even with how many lights like these we've installed, I'm still coming back at night, and I want to make sure that I'm getting the effect that I look for with the design and everything that we've come up with. All right guys, we're just finishing up here for the day. The last 2 days on this property, we've literally wired in about 75 lights, a lot of which were deck lights, tree lights for down lighting, so all that stuff. And you know, something to think of whenever you're going to put any kind of down lighting or deck lighting, always a lot more time. It always takes 2 or 3 times longer than you think it's going to be. And I'm pooped. We're going to head out of here, go get some food just before sun sets, and then like I always talk about in all the videos, we're going to come back tonight and we're going to check everything out. We've wired 75 lights, but we haven't buried a single thing yet, because I want to come back tonight and I want to make sure that everything looks the way we want it to, whether we got to increase the intensity of some bulbs, maybe we got to move a couple lights by a foot or 2 here or there, all kinds of different things. We're going to bring our King Innovation Insta Light, which is our battery pack that comes with all our kits. I'm gonna have a light kind of on the ready so that if there's some areas that looks like maybe we missed or we could use some more light, then we're gonna light that up with the battery pack. We're gonna test it out. So tomorrow, if we need to, we can come add those lights on. Same thing with if we find that maybe there's some areas that we added a little bit too much light, we wanna take some away, then we can do that as well. But I always leave everything exposed, and I've already tested everything too. I know that everything works after I've wired everything together. Before I've buried anything, I've flicked on my transformer just so that I can make sure that every single light works, because there's nothing worse than having to go back and dig up maybe some mistakes. And yes, we all make them, whether it's your first time or whether you've been doing it a lot once in a while. This might be the first project that I haven't found a mistake yet, but it's still early. We're still only day 2 of day 4, and tomorrow and probably the next day we're gonna be just burying all our wire. We've got a couple guys to come help us in the grass and all those areas. So that's kind of the game plan. But like I always talk about, test your lights, make sure everything looks right before you go and bury anything, and come back at night to do that, because that's easily the best way. So signing off for tonight. We'll see if we can get you guys some late night videos, but it never quite turns out. It's just very tough to get nighttime videos, but we'll do our best, and we will see you tomorrow as we start burying everything up. Hey guys, so this is a really cool example of a beautiful driveway leading down to the ocean. This is why I love the moonlighting effect, and I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it in this video, but we've got about 3 or 4 lights up above in the tree shining down. And if you can see, this is what's cool, is we kind of light the driveway and create these cool shadowing patterns that make it look like we have a full moon. And by far my favorite feature, and the thing we get commented on the most. Yes, it is a lot more work to get those lights up in the trees, but the effect is pretty phenomenal. So if you are up for it, I would definitely recommend combination of some downlighting and some uplighting on the trees. Create some really cool effects. It's just another cool example. If you can see this top peak here, where we used a couple gutter mounts and just focused them in on that top peak, really turns out. Second story peaks, definitely something you want to focus on if you can get the lights up there. Definitely brings your landscape lighting plan to the next level. Hey guys, so we'll take a quick look at the cottage here. Nighttime pictures never quite do it justice. I think the only thing we're missing that I would add here is on the front porch, we're going to put a little downlight there to highlight it, but I think the light in the 2 sides of the windows was nice, create some symmetry. We're just missing a little bit of a dark spot in the middle there, and then as we kind of go around the side, we only use 6 lights on this guy, which is nice, but we just kind of highlight it again around the side here. Just to give a little bit, and as it gets darker, you'll really be able to see the subtleties in the light. A little bit higher up is just tough to see right now, and then again by the entrance, we did the same thing over on this side, and I think everything turned out really nice. Very subtle lighting, but just enough to make it pop so that you can kind of see it from a distance. And then we'll show you the driveway here again as we get a little bit better light as it gets a little bit darker here. Hey guys, so I'm just rolling up to the house here, and again, nighttime pictures never do it justice, because I really wish you could see what I see here with these giant cedar trees that are just very subtly lit up, cabin lit up in the background, some nice deck lighting, as well as the cottage on the side that they're converting into, believe it or not, a little goat ranch. So the goats will have some nice light, and then we're gonna just move down the driveway here, which is probably my favorite area. So we have a bit of a dark spot here just because of lack of trees and stuff, but closer to the house and the entryway coming in is where everything really stands out. And you'll see as we kind of get to our first light, what's cool is we were able to get this one up nice and high in the trees above some of the branches and create some cool shadows here. I wish we had more trees around the driveway in this area, because I would do this even more, but it really stands out. Lights the base of the tree as well as we have another tree lit just to the right of it here. Coming from this way, you don't see it as much, but driving up the driveway, it really stands out. And then, in my opinion, the real highlight here is actually from the gate coming up. We've got a bunch of trees lit from down below shining up, and then we've got some amazing shadowing happening here that really makes this front entryway stand out. This is why I love the downlighting effect. We can see all the shadows of the trees, and just some really cool effects. And not only that, but now as you drive up to the gate, it really stands out here, and we'll see if we can't get a picture from the roadside for you without blinding you. But now what's cool is this is what you see when you pull up to this at night, which is really cool. And we're going to be adding a lot more things to this property. I'm going to talk to them about a couple ideas, but it's a pretty inviting entryway to come into now. And I think probably the thing I'm most excited about, except for Deer, who just came through our path here, even he likes the entryway. So that's the magic of downlighting, guys. It's my favorite thing to do. It's a lot of work, lugging a ladder around and all that, but the effect, as you can see, is worth it. I wanted to also talk about making your controllers Wi-Fi really cost effectively, and also running multiple zones. There is transformers out there where you can have one transformer that runs, say, a zone for your front and a zone for your back. In all honesty, they're pretty confusing to work, and they get quite expensive, and there's some limitations and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to tell you a real cost-effective way of doing that, especially if you only have, like, say, a front yard and a backyard zone. If it doesn't matter, then just run them all off the same transformer. But if you want to control them separately, front yard, backyard, with simple on-off functions, the best way to do it is just with a simple Wi-Fi timer like this. So this is one we've used for a long time. It's from Wion. It works, it's weatherproof, it's great outdoors. There's literally tons of models out there that you can use. We just use this one because this is what we know, and we haven't had a lot of issues with it. But basically all we've done is we've taken just a standard transformer that all it has is a simple on-off switch inside here that you flick on or off. And to bypass that, instead of putting like a photocell where now, we got to be conscious of where we're putting that transformer so it's not in the shade, so our lights don't come on too early, what we've done is two ways you can do this. One is we've basically just taken our Wi-Fi timer, we've plugged it into our outlet, and then we've plugged our transformer into there. Sometimes the reason I like doing that is just because when you put these little things inside the box, which I'll show you, the Wi-Fi signal isn't as strong. It's sometimes cause some issues. But if you want to put it inside, it's pretty easy. You'll see the transformers and any of the good ones that you'll buy, not the Malibu or Moonrays or Hampton Bay or any of those garbage ones, but a good solid stainless steel one is going to have a setup like this, where you have an on-off switch, and then you've got this little plug in here. And all you basically have to do is take this plug out, and you plug your timer into there, and then you plug this back into there, and then all of a sudden that's inside, but this operates as what it would be like a photocell. And all this is, if you had any kind of old timer or photocell, it basically plugs into this kind of thing too. So that's how you make your system a Wi-Fi. And it doesn't matter if you have a smart home system and they make a compatible outdoor outlet, then just use that. If you have you're plugging on a Wi-Fi switch already that's inside the house, well, then you don't even need that, because basically you can just plug this in, leave it in the on position, and then you control everything from whatever your smart home system is. And the reason I say that's a cost-effective way is because now if you want to do the front and the back, it's typically going to be cheaper for you just to get two transformers, two smart devices, and have a front and a back zone, as opposed to going and buying one of the programmable zoning ones. And not that I've got one in my house. I get my stuff at cost, so I don't mind paying for it, but I know that a lot of you, and even myself, if I had to pay full price, I might not be paying for that zoning option, because realistically it's not something that we use a whole ton in a much more affordable way. Simple transformer, Wi-Fi timer, and you're set. Mounting your transformer, another question I get all the time. In this case, we've just mounted it straight to the house, straight to the structure. This is a part of the house that nobody really sees. It's well enough hidden. We have our outlet. and it's solid enough. I don't have to worry about drilling through concrete or anything like that. So in this case, we just mounted it directly to the house. Try and keep it about 12 to 18 inches above the ground, just because, not that they put out a lot of heat, but they can put out a little bit of heat, and you just want to keep that, you know, above the ground. But if you don't have that option, or it's your house is concrete, or you don't know what's there and you don't want to be drilling into the house, which I hate drilling into houses unless I know what's there. Usually what we'll do is I'll just go get a nice 4x4 cedar post, because I know it's going to last. I might go to the deck section in my home improvement store and get like a nice little cap for the top of my 4x4 post. I'll dig that in a bit, bury that in, and then I'll just mount my transformer to that. And the reason I like doing that too is because then if you ever decide to move your transformer, you're not having to worry about patch up holes in your house. So a simple 4x4 post is a nice way to go and mount your transformer. It's clean, it's easy, and it just eliminates you having to drill more holes into the side of your house. So how do you select the right size transformer for your project? It's really easy as long as you're using a good, efficient LED landscape light. Basically what you do is you take all your lights. So I'm going to say, for example, I've got 20 uplights, and they're all 5-watt LED lamps. Now the only thing to keep in mind is that the cheaper the quality of the light, the less you pay for it. There's something called their VA, which is basically their efficiency of the light, which if it says it's a 5-watt bulb, the cheaper quality of the light is, it's actually going to be using closer to 10 watts. Sometimes I've seen as high as double the actual wattage. So you want to be careful. If you're saving money on lights because you're buying something off Amazon or in Home Depot, just be aware you want to definitely size your transformer much bigger. If you're using a good contractor grade or professional light, you allow for maybe 20% extra of that VA. So a 5-watt light might be using 6 watts, maybe 7 watts. So always plan for that. Any of the good lights are going to tell you that. They're going to give you a VA on the box, which is going to tell you what you should actually plan your transformer for. So let's say you're looking at our standard RS uplight was a 4-watt LED bulb, which only uses about 4.2 watts, but let's say it's 5, just to keep math simple. Say we've got 20 of those lights. 20 times 5 is, we have 100 watts. So the only thing we want to do is just make sure we size our transformer a little bit bigger than that, so that we can add on later, and just in case there is any inefficiencies, we have a little bit of room. So we'll usually, you know, size it maybe 20% larger, just to be safe. If you know you want to add more later, then just go a little bit bigger than that. But basically that's it. The reason that you still see a lot of 600, 900 watt transformers out there, again, is because there's still a lot of I'll call them old school guys that still install halogen lights, where you needed those bigger transformers because there was just so much wattage with all the lights that are on the system. If you're using a good LED system, I'm going to tell you that you probably don't need anything bigger than 300 watts, because if you're putting that many lights on, you're probably going to be spread out so far that you're going to want another transformer anyway. So we basically carry 2 models. We carry a good stainless steel 150 watt and a good stainless steel 300 watt. That's it. It doesn't matter if you use a 300 watt and you only put a couple lights on it. It's really not going to affect your system that much. You just probably don't need to spend the extra money to do that. But if you wanted to, and future expansion, all that kind of stuff, you definitely can. Anything that's under 100 watts, I'll tell you right now, there's not a lot of good options. There's a lot of econo transformers that we actually used to sell some of them, and not that they were bad, but I know they don't last. We've quit selling anything that we get called out to repair or replace all the time, and that's why there's a very limited number of fixtures and products on our website, because I don't want to sell you guys the garbage that I know is just going to break down. So we're going to give you, the best of the best, the quality that's not going to break your bank account, but that we know is going to last. But basically, in short, that's how you size your transformer. Add up the wattage of all your lights, and then just make sure you size that transformer about 20% higher. The less efficient, the cheaper the light, size it a little bit more. So we've finished our project here on Salt Spring Island. We've installed, I think, just under 70 lights in total. We've got some cool down lighting in the trees. We've got some cool down lighting using our hardscape lights. We've got some cool deck lights, some up lights. We've really done a lot of stuff on this property. It was a really fun one. It was a big property, so it really even helped give me the confidence about voltage drop and why it's really not that big of an issue with LED. We ran probably about 2,000 feet of wire. We only have 3 transformers, nothing bigger than 300 watts, and we didn't have to do anything special with any wire bigger than 12 gauge. So for all of those that kind of call in and ask, you know, what about voltage drop and all that, a general rule of thumb, you can easily run 100 watts of lights on a 300 foot spool of 12-2 cable with a 15 volt transformer and not run into any voltage drop issues. And if you have more lights or more wire than that, you need to just run multiple wires from your transformer and you'll be safe. And that's what we did on this project, and we had no issues whatsoever with voltage drop. So again, this was a really fun project, and we're going to keep curating some videos from all the content that we've kind of had here on, I guess, on the west coast of Canada. So we appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your questions. Keep them coming in. Make sure to get your free consultations. That's how this whole project started. This property's, you know, 1,200 kilometers away from us and 2 ferry rides, but they reached out to us to get a free consultation. We showed them a bunch of ideas they could do on their property. It was a bigger project, so they said, you know what, we'd like you to come and do it for us. We came out, we installed it, and everything looks great. We're really happy with it. So get your free consultations, watch our videos, ask your questions. We're always here to help you guys. Thanks so much from Salt Spring Island in Canada. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed that video presentation with some great tips and tools on how to go and properly and effectively light up your landscape. And be sure, if you want your own free consultation video, just send me an email at cal@lightingdoctor.ca with a few pictures of your property, and we'll get back to you with some really cool ideas and ways to go and effectively light your property. And be sure to watch the videos after this one for more tips on how to install landscape lighting, as well as how to light up your landscape the best way possible.